Okay, I'm here in one of my studios, one of my art studios. And I really love making art outdoors, but the weather's a little rough today, so I came indoors to do some work with some clients on some crypto, and so this is a piece of carving. It's a piece of wood. It's native. It's a form of apple from this part of the world. It's locals call it hedge apple. I don't think it's really an apple, but they call it hedge apple. It's got these prickers and really rough wood. I just like carving it. When the trees come down, I cut it up, and this is a small piece that I was making for a friend. Um, you see, it's really cool. But my dog, Hunka, one of my pups, got a hold of it, and so now it's his. And so I stopped carving it just because every time I pick it up to carve, he's like, woof, woof. All right, so that's this. I am going to get to the value of a user group in crypto just to distinguish a user group from what a lot of people call communities. Users, and this is like it's users of decentralized finance applications and protocols and smart contracts. It doesn't matter if I'm a builder, a developer, a software engineer, a degen. If I'm using the app, right, that's connected to the blockchain, then I'm a user, right? And then the question is, okay, I don't want to talk about user groups just yet, if at all. I realize I'm going to drop that idea. I'll finish it. So the idea is for new products and protocols, we really need to think in terms of usability, user interest. And when we can align user interests, then we have collaborative action, which is really what I wanted to talk about, is the value of collaborative action. Not asking permission of anyone, being free to transact on the blockchain. I really like that a lot. So, okay, but I'm in an art mind. I don't want to talk DeFi. I know everyone wants to hear about making money and crypto, but I'm sharing art right now. This is one of my favorite pieces. It can't really fit. See the eye, and see that figure. That's really cool. See the flowers. See the A and the T. Yeah, this is hot. See at the bottom, the heart, the painted heart. Okay, Eros. This is the Eros web. She's everywhere. Okay. See the eye on the Eros web. Okay. See the other eye. See, the eyes don't have to be perfect. Things don't have to be the same. Right? The creator gets to create. Right? Look at this. I get to do whatever the hell I want in these pieces. Yeah. This piece, I carved in Central Park a bunch of years ago, and it was Scrabble, like letters, just meant to be arranged and rearranged, and then I painted it. And It's connected to another piece that's somewhere here. It's in the same family as this one. There's a whole series of mostly that I carved in Central Park and then painted in my apartment or in the park. Yeah, a little bit different time. Those are what I would call OG pieces. BF pieces, before fatherhood pieces. So, okay. Yeah, because once fatherhood happened, I had to, I mean, I still do get to Central Park and carve, but it's periodic. Oh, this is another one back there, especially for uh, 2024, which is Year of the Dragon in Chinese cosmology. And in Titanx, we used it back then. People forget about dragons. I don't forget about dragons. I do a dragon practice. This is also a snake, though. It's a snake. You may not be able to see it, but this piece is amazing, actually. It's stained black. There's an upside down human right here. There's a snake and a lizard, the neck, the heart, the legs. This is an upside down, basically the lizard. It's a snake, it's a serpent. What's it called? I forgot. Something. Oh, twisted pregnant lizard. Right on. This is twisted pregnant lizard. And the lizard morphs from a dragon, which is, there's Komodo dragons, there's also mythical dragons, right? And it morphs between dragon and snake, which is a Shaolin practice. I do a Shaolin practice, and those are two of the archetypal martial forces that we use. There's, what is it? Dragon practice, right? And snake practice, right? Snake, right? I probably, at the time when I was learning, it was in New York City, and I used to, I learned, I had some, I had I had like 3 different martial arts teachers at the time. One was very old school. Actually, all of them were sort of old school, but one was very old school, like Master Chu. Oh, yeah, Master Chu was amazing. Such a good teacher. He really translated a lot of well, actually, he translated what they call negong, which is inner practice. Gong is practice or discipline, and ne is inner. And he translated, it's a form. I mean, he teaches it as a 10 animal form with many different variations, but he also condensed it and organized for Westerners like me. I brought my mother years ago in New York City to Master Chu, and I brought her and she learned, and I stayed, right? And he used to say to me, he's like, soft body practice. Don't hold it, no time, soft body practice. That's Negong. They call it the iron bell practice. So anyway, okay, where was I? Showing some art. I'm in the art studio. It's like my den art studio, right? It's where I do martial arts. It's when I, especially in the winter when it's cold, everything when it's warm out, I do outside, but when it's cold out, it's brutal up here, and I come into this room and I make it warm and do my martial arts and art, right? Where was I talking about upside down? Yeah, twisted pregnant lizard with the upside down human, right? Pregnant with a human. Yeah, so I probably carved that at a time that I was really thinking about animal and human archetypes, and I carved them in. Same time as this, right? This is different. This piece is called Love and Hate. I love and hate, right? That was a powerful piece. It probably is still powerful. Um, that was inspired by Aborigine dot painting, right? I still do. I like to go look at indigenous art from all over, carvings, paintings, stonework, woodwork, painting. Just I like to look at it and get inspired by different styles wherever I travel. Part of the reason why I want to go to Jamaica, I want to go to AI Villa. I want to go to AI Villa and hang out in the river and the farm and the mountain and and the cave and the music. I think I could go hang out there for a while. Yeah, first, yeah. Um, let's see, what else do we have? Tristan Pregnant Lizard. That's really important. I'm actually starting some new carvings right now. They're sort of archetypals. This is one of my favorite carvings. I've been using it a lot. It's a critical totem in my life. It's called. It started as Matisse Woman. I saw a painting of a Matisse woman, or no, I saw a photograph in a newspaper of Matisse Woman, and it wasn't in color; it was black and white first. So I just got the shapes from that, and then I looked at the real sort of. I think it was Matisse in the South Pacific, and I got the sort of color scheme, and so I did that. It's really a crazy, amazing carving, in my humble opinion. And it's got Rasta. Um, it's got locks up top, Rasta locks up top, and so it's really evolved into Rasta Matisse Woman, right? But it's got other sides. There's a fire breathing frog at the bottom of this. I don't know if you can see it, but here, you want to see the fire breathing frog? Here's the frog. You see the Matisse, there's lots of eyes and mouths, but there's a fire breathing frog at the bottom. Yeah, this is crazy, man. This piece is wild. All right. Oh, man. The backside and the other side. Oh, yeah. This is a cool one, too. This creature, check out this guy. Okay. That's for all y'all keyboard warriors, bruh. That's for all the keyboard warriors. This is my, and like, like, yeah, that's a hot piece. I like that. Oh man, I've been talking about bear and teddy bear, right? And so I've this is teddy bear. Look at the bear. This is this is what we call guardian killer bear right there, right at the top. This is a crazy bear right there. Okay, I'm gonna keep the bear. You see the bear? You made it the bear eye, the bear nose. It's like it's also got an eagle in there, so there's bear eagle. Um, yeah, this art. Okay, maybe I'll keep. Oh yeah, since it's for the keyboard warriors, right? This side. Oh, look at this wacky. See, these are the freaking these guys. Come on. Okay. Now, these are not on bases because I'm if they're in this part of my studio, they're for refinishing. So everything here I'm gonna, not now. This season's for carving, right? And doing DeFi and building what's next, right? But the art, I'm actually bringing some stuff in from the weather. This is all painted and stained pieces, and so I'm going to be bringing some new pieces into this collection to like sand, stain, paint, and integrate new pieces with the OG pieces. And these, by the way, there's the Guardian Killer Bear up top. Okay, this is perfect. So yeah, so the Guardian Killer Bear, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Count them, 4. 4, 4 critical. I don't know what these guys are. These are like wacky characters, okay, but they're all protecting in the totemic art realm, which is something I created. I mean, I don't do traditional totems, but I do totemic art. I base it on totemic lessons and totemic systems and totemic designs, but I'm free to create totemic art, which are just pieces of art that have some intention, some totemic intention, which is typically protection, right? So traditional totems used to be carved and planted next to homes and long homes, and they were, protection from the elements and from enemies and from psychic drains, and so protection and connection, right? Connection with the unseen world, the ancestrals, right? And so those are the traditional. Now there are many different global variations on totemic art. Every indigenous culture, which is all cultures that I've ever sort of visited or studied, has a form of totemic art. They may not call them totems. Totems, are a very specific family and clan marker and connector and protector and connector, which is why I use it. I just like it. I used to carve a lot in public, and people would ask me, are these totems? And at the time I was like, nah, it's not. I'm just carving. And they're like, well, what is it? I was like, nah, I don't know. I'm just carving it. So I didn't, in the beginning, have this intention, but enough people asked me, is this a totem? What is it? I started to say yes. I said, it's not a tradition, but it's totemic. It's totemic. And they're like, oh, what is that? And I was like, I don't know. I got to make it up. So I did study. I met and carved with the first real totemic artist that I met. So at a time in New York City, he was an incredible wood carver from Vancouver Island, right? He was a native. His people were natives to Vancouver, what's now Vancouver Island. I don't remember what he told me the name of the island was, but he brought his Haida carving tradition from there to the Museum of Natural History, which is where I met him. Because I used to go, and as a kid, but also when I was in law school, just to like get my mind off of law and war and battle and all that, I used to go to the Museum of Natural History to go look at totem poles. What a surprise, right? So I used to go look at totem poles and study the designs. I didn't know that one day I would be carving them, but I have all kinds of designs in my memory from that time. And then one day, I remember I was going into, you really had to find them because they used to hide these things. I used to tell them they need to show them, but they're huge, and they're carvings from all over the world. Okay. And I always told them that they should bring them back to the cultures. They're like, well, they're in the museum collection. So anyway, one day this guy, forgot his name, bless you. I remember we talked and we carved, and he was carving a huge traditional totem a in one of the Museum of Natural History areas where there were carvings. And I was like, wow. When I first saw him, I was like, I felt like so I went and talked to him, and he had this amazing toolkit, and I had just started carving, but he really inspired me. And we talked about the carving culture that he grew up in and different carving cultures around the world. So he was a really good teacher. And um, and I really hadn't started carving and for real when I met this guy. I had just thought about it. I had thought about it. I had started seeing totems in my dreams, waking and sleeping. And then I also had been riding my bike over in Riverside Park in New York City and seeing these big carvings. So all of a sudden in my life in New York City, in the middle of New York City, I did have tools because I had been, carving mortise and tenon joints up in Maine, um, building post and beam homes, right? So I had been carving, and then I was back in the city, and all of a sudden there are all these carvings showing up, right? There was this true indigenous carving culture. The Haida came to the Museum of Natural History. He was an artist in residence, and I met him and I saw his tools, and we talked about the carving culture, their carving culture, other carving cultures. He asked me about carving culture in the city, and I had been studying, just looking for years. There are African carvers and Caribbean carvers out in Brooklyn, and there are Haitian carvers and sculptures in Harlem. And there were, anyway, so one thing led to another, and I started carving. Yama, my friend, who lived in the 79th Street boat basin on a boat and was he's a Japanese wood carver. He was really my teacher, Yama. He didn't teach me much other than model, demonstrate. He taught me. He said, hey, because I was like, Yama, how do I do this? He said, do you have tools? And I said, yes. He said, what do you have? And I said, just square cabinetry chisels and wood mount. He said, perfect. And he gave me a saw. And the first piece I ever carved, which I think is still my favorite, my best piece, the first one, it's called Jungle Nightmare. He gave me a saw, and it was nighttime in Riverside Park in New York City. And he gave me a saw. He said, there's a down tree, and it was snowing. He said, there's a down tree on 84th Street. Go cut a piece. So I went up to cut this piece of, I think it was hackberry. Hackberry is a very hard, beautiful, dark wood. And people don't know this, but New York City has amazing trees, amazing hardwoods. And in the storms, they fall down. And so that's how the wood carvers in New York City, there aren't a lot, there's probably 3 or 4 left, right? But there's a few of us, and every place I go, I find them out in Prospect Park, Inwood Park, Central Park, or they find me, right? So anyway, crypto. Okay, hold on, let me definitely, okay. All right, the Eros, okay, I'm gonna talk about the Eros web on Pulsechain, and the value of collaborative action. So, in short, the Eros web is a community-based LP web on Pulsechain. That it's a merging of communities, and protocols and assets. It was initiated by us, the Titanx community, who received Eros as an airdrop over a year ago. And we've decided to use the contract that's a PTGC clone on Pulsechain. And we're using that contract and protocol, which is a fee sharing platform and protocol. We're using it to build out an LP web that leverages the volatility of the market, the volatility between assets in the web, to burn the Eros token and generate real yield from both fees and market volume and volatility. Okay. And what we're doing is, the reason why I'm doing this like the value of a user group, because what we've got is a group of users. We're a mix of investors. I'm not like, I don't consider myself a builder, except I'm a carver and I build outside of crypto. I don't consider myself a dev. I'm not a software engineer. I like smart contracts, but I don't build them or create them or design them, and I don't deploy them. But I use a lot of different DeFi protocols. I like DeFi. I like decentralized finance. I like self-custody. And so why I'm doing this, why we're doing this, is we all have the aligned interest of uplifting build on Titan X protocols, all of them. There's no discrimination. Everyone's welcome. We're free to migrate our Titan X on Ethereum assets over to Pulsechain on the Pulsechain bridge, and then to hold those assets and not trade them, because we're at the bottom of the market. Hold them. So our strategy is hold them and put them into pairs, pair with strength, pair with what we like. So my favorite pair is the, well, I won't talk about my favorite pairs. I'm going to talk about the value of a user group. Oh, my dog. Hold on. Hold on. I've got to go let my dog out. Time out. I'll be right back if anybody's here. Okay. So we're building the LP web using Eros, but where we're at right now is migrating assets. All of them are now, all 40 build on Titan X assets are on Pulsechain. Some were already brought over, and the ones that weren't brought over, our team has brought them over and set it into a web. And now, taking collaborative action, we are intending to demonstrate the value of different kinds of users with diverse bags and diverse interests, but we have a unified interest in uplifting, meaning price go up for build on Titan X protocols. A lot of us are holding what we call bot tokens, build on Titan X, and they're at lows, right? They are leverage on leverage on leverage, and in a down market, they've been decimated, right? And so we're starting to demonstrate the value, and you started to see it a little if you were paying attention with Lotus and Eden. The basic idea is you buy low, right? When things are depressed, not with new money, with existing money, with dust, with little bits, buying low, on Ethereum, bridging over to Pulsechain and pairing with strength, so that we now become part of the web that now it gives our Lotus and Eden a use case, right? Now I get some life out of, and it's not just Lotus and Eden that are severely depressed and without volume and value, right? And so what we're doing is we're uplifting one at a time assets that need assistance, that need attention, that need a use case, right? And like the beauty of it is no one's in charge. Everybody, I take full responsibility for this is one of my contributions. I committed to this user group because we're all So we're all holders of Titan X protocols, Eros protocols, Eros protocol, and we have an interest in Pulsechain. Like, I would discourage people who have Titan X to do this if you don't want to be on Pulsechain. If you prefer to just stay on Ethereum or Base or wherever Titan X is, I would say do that. This only is for people like me and others in this crew that have Titan X, have wanted to migrate to Pulsechain to get access to what I know is coming. Okay. I had this intuition anyway that with regulatory certainty of Pulsechain, with the SEC losing against Pulsechain, that what we had was an undervalued chain, right? And it's still struggling, it's divided and conflicting, but it's more decentralized than most blockchains. So I like it for DeFi. The user experience is basically what you have on Ethereum. I'd love to see optimizations, but it's fine. It's degen heaven, and there's a culture of community web building. And so we have the shared interest of price go up, like we all want our build on Titan X and Titan X assets price go up, right? But that just doesn't happen by waiting. It happens with concerted action. More buyers, less sellers. More diamond hands, less lettuce hands. More aligned interest to build, in this case, a liquidity web on Pulsechain that gives us access to a new market. It gives us access to new communities, and we're doing it just by pairing, right? We're pairing our build on Titan X tokens with each other, with Pulse, with Hex, with UFO, with Bear, with PDI, right? We're building the liquidity web based on this principle of, pair first using the Titan X ethos, the Titan X assets, and then with the core assets on Pulsechain. And we are doing leverage, unleverage, unleverage, and connecting with assets on Pulsechain we like. So me, for example, I like Bear. I like OG Teddy Bear, right? I have Guardian Killer Bear. I'm going to carve like a bear totem that is going to be really explosive for, OG Teddy Bear on Pulsechain. And so I have some bear and I'm pairing it with Eros in the Eros web, right? I like that. I did the same thing with my PDI and Eros, right? And so that's how the community web is going, is together we're migrating value and setting up the web, and then individuals and groups of people who hold coins can go in and build liquidity webs, build economic nodes where the theme is diamond hands. The theme is, it's not never selling. The theme is aligned interest in building the value in the bear market, and also teaching people how do you get in responsibly and how do you get out responsibly, both of assets and liquidity providing. How do you do it in a good way based on personal strategy and where the opportunities are? So the value of a user group, yeah, it's really the value of aligned interests, and also a principled approach to this idea that it takes good information. In today's DeFi world, like certain people, typically the protocol owners, the developers, the builders, they have a lot of insider information. It's why a lot of times people get dumped on. It's not always the builders and the devs that are dumping, but sometimes they are. A lot of the rugs are developer centric, right? The people that can rug, can pull liquidity, can like pump it and run. And so the big challenge for those of us who are investors is to understand where there is credible, where there is safe protocol, where we have developers and builders who have a high integrity and are not going to disappear on us, right? And so the beauty of the Eros web is that the developers dropped this and did leave. They're not around anymore, okay? And the builders aren't around anymore. And so all we are doing is taking the platform, the protocol, the smart contract. It's a series of smart contracts. It's the code for Eros and a staking contract where I can stake my Eros and lock it and make passive income from the volume and the volatility, right? It's actually, it's a world-class protocol that's built on the world-class protocol, the first in its class, the blue chip on Pulsechain, which is PTGC, right? PTGC is a really great invention and a great community and a great protocol and a great aligned interest movement, right? And we were just fortunate, we in the Titanx community got this airdrop that is a clone of PTGC. We just got fortunate. And so now that those of us who realize it's there, we're going to use it to get what I and we want, which is exposure to the Pulsechain bull run and exposure to other assets, strength that we couldn't get exposure to on Ethereum, right? All right. I think I'm done. I really wanted to share art and I sort of felt like I had. Okay, so what's coming? So I think what we're going to see, and this is not magic, right? This is not magic. It's the value of aligned action, aligned interest, and aligned incentive with groups of people from one ecosystem migrating value in a decentralized, semi-coordinated way. There are people in Telegram groups like organizing this, and those groups are open, right? Anybody that wants to participate, it's not like we do have one group that's our strategy group. And if you're interested, talk to me. I'll invite you in, right? All we want is people who come in peace and collaboration and uplift and using each other's strengths to deliver value. Now, how are we delivering value? First, for Titanx and Build on Titanx holders on Ethereum, we're creating scarcity because we're migrating supply. I, for example, brought, I don't know, 15% of my value that I'm holding on Ethereum. Most of it's in Ouroboros, but I brought 15% of my Titanx and Build on Titanx over to Pulsechain to deploy, right? And I'm not selling that other than a small percentage of that I'm buying Eros. Because for me, I like Eros. It's a deflationary, fully permissionless. It's operating on the Pulsechain. There's no humans. There's no management controls, right? We can't change it. It's immutable. It's going to keep on burning. It's going to keep on distributing proceeds based on volatility and volume. And the more liquidity that we bring into this web, and I think we doubled. I mean, it's a community migration, but we doubled in, what we're doing. And I think it's going to gain momentum. I mean, doubled the dollar value, even in a down market, of the value of the liquidity in the web. There's no easy way to measure that right now. You can't, I'm sure somebody could measure it, but that's part of what we're doing is building it out, right? On PulseDex and continuing to add tech enablements that make it easier for community people to bridge value over, deploy into LP, and reap the benefits and be part of a community initiative of the intention is diamond hands. The intention is, and teaching self and other how to get in responsibly and get out responsibly, right? How do we do that? For each person, it's going to be different because each of us comes in to an asset and a web, on our own terms, like how much I have, what my strategy is, how much I need the money, right? And so always in this culture that we're building, when someone needs to sell, they sell. But the idea is there's only the second biggest wallet is the burn wallet, and hopefully that will be the biggest wallet soon. Like the idea here is that the biggest holders are building the web and the culture of diamond hands on the way up and taking responsible profits on that way up, making space for newcomers without killing price, protocol, and understanding that, especially in this very volatile next 3, 6, 9, 12 months, for me at least, I'm only interested in protocols that I can leverage the value for this next 3, 6, 9 months and leave some percentage of the asset in for the coming bear cycle. That's just my personal strategy. I'm only looking for, and part of the reason why I like Eros is it doesn't need humans, right? It doesn't. And so if I'm holding Eros, like at the Bitcoin and then Ethereum and then altcoin peak, and let's say I've sold a bunch of my Eros on the way up, but I'm holding a certain percentage of it. I'm just going to hold it on the way down, right? And maybe because there aren't people involved, but maybe because we've got aligned interests, maybe there are a group of us that are actually buying the blood in the next bear market and buying the lows, buying the next capitulation. What we have done is buy the Eros capitulation and buy the type next capitulation in little bits. It doesn't take a lot when we buy capitulations and then ride things up, right? All right. Peace out, y'all. That was a combination. I wish if there were some questions, I like a dialogue. How much can I talk? Like, I need to get to work on art or business or something. If someone was here, can you make some comments or ask the question and then we can have a dialogue, or should I just end this? Come on. Even about art, crypto, relationships, dating. I'm a good dating coach. I have a matchmaking service. That's not true. That's the only non-truth. I mean, I do. I like to match people up, but I don't have a matchmaking service per se. All right. Peace out, y'all.